Okay, welcome to our guests. Hello, everybody. Good to see y'all. Feel free to come on video if you like. If not, no worries at all. We're all friends here, and we are in a meeting format here on Zoom. This is not a webinar format, so just fair warning. And we are recording the proceedings tonight, so this will be posted to our the SJAA YouTube and our website at sjartsadvocates.org. Greetings, everyone. My name is Peter Allen. I'm excited and proud to be a co-founder of San Jose Arts Advocates, and I want to welcome you and thank you for joining us tonight. Our apologies. We scheduled this up against the U.S. Turkey World Cup match, so for those of you who follow the world's religion, we will forgive you for having one eye on the match a little later, even though the U.S. has already clinched its group. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, that is probably better for your mental health. Please note we're recording the session, as I mentioned. We'll be posting this to our YouTube channel as well as our website. So we'll send that link out to you via the email you provided. But if you did not indicate that you wanted to be on our mailing list, you won't receive any other emails from us. But we will let you know about that. And just give me 1 second. Again, I have to bring my script back up again because it went away. Technical difficulties in the heart of Silicon Valley. Alrighty.
Here.
Okay. So, want to remind everyone this is designed to be an interactive event. We have a few prepared prompts for our panelists that our wonderful moderator is going to be running through. But we invite you to drop questions you might have at any time in the chat, and we'll have some time near the end of the session for audience questions. We might even go to questions in the middle of things if it's really pertinent to what's being discussed at that moment. If we can't get to your question, we will do our best to get your response offline. And if something should occur to you after the session's over, please send us an email at hello@sjartsadvocates.org. I'll put that in the chat in a little bit. hello@sjartsadvocates.org. And we will be happy to try to get you a response to your question at that point. Thanks to everyone who registered in advance. If you let us know you want to be on our mailing list, we will add you to that. If you missed that and you would love to get our updates, you can always go to our website, again, sjartsadvocates.org. Just scroll down on the homepage. There'll be a subscribe box there. You can also find it in the top navigation. And now, without further ado, it is my honor and my privilege to turn the Zoom mic over to our moderator for the evening, the one and only mighty Mike McGee. And I'll give him a quick introduction, but feel free to give jazz hands and Zoom applause. Mighty Mike is San Jose's silly supplicant who salivates at the setup of a salacious Scrabble session while simultaneously savoring salad and slurping soup and sugar-free soda after an appetizer of chips and salsa, of course. I love a good alliteration. Between 2003 and 2014, Mike toured as a performance poet over 1.2 million miles throughout North America and Europe. He returned to downtown San Jose in 2014 and was Poet Laureate of Santa Clara County in 2018 and 2019. Mike has hosted hundreds of poetry, music, and comedy events and teaches poetry to hundreds of elementary school students throughout the valley each year. You are invited to join him for coffee in Japantown anytime. Well, at least sometime. At his convenience, I guess. And without further ado, Mighty Mike, please take it away.
Woo! It's me. All of that is true, especially the soup and salad part. Hello, everybody. Welcome. I should say that because this is a question I'm going to be asking our panelists today, I should say that I am a returning member of San Jose Arts Advocates. I was in the original group of founders back in I think it was 1824, if I'm not mistaken. And but I returned sometime. I think it was earlier this year. It was when we did the glass, when we made our glass things over at Baggy, which was awesome. I finally picked mine up about 2 weeks ago. But I joined because I felt as though I wanted, as a representative of poetry and spoken word in this valley, I wanted to make sure that it was sort of included in with all the other art forms that we get the luxury of experiencing here in San Jose and throughout the rest of the valley. But I also love music and art and comedy, visual art, graphic art, performance art. I love all of it so much, and I'm bad at most of it. And so my skills are generally in talking, speaking, what have you. And I figure if I can help be a part of that movement of letting people know about all of the arts that are happening, and maybe even wagging a finger or three at the people in power who have an opportunity to help us help the rest of the city see the beautiful and amazing displays of art that we have that do already exist. We're not asking it to exist. We want everybody to know that it does already exist. So, without any further ado, I get the pleasure of reading off this fantastic list. Thank you, Peter, and thanks everyone for joining us tonight. As noted on our website, San Jose Arts Advocates is a collaborative project driven by the San Jose creative community dedicated to education, advocacy, and action to support arts and culture. Our goals are simple: build public will for arts and culture in San Jose, amplify the political voice of San Jose's creative community, and provide opportunities for learning, networking, and collaboration. It's in service to all of those goals that we are hosting this informational session. And speaking of information, a friendly reminder that this event is for informational purposes only and will not include discussion of specific topics or agenda items within the purview of the San Jose Arts Commission. This is also not intended as a forum for specific grievances, pending items, or individual cases. We want to keep the conversation focused on the role of commissioners, the application process, and how community members can positively engage in their civic process. Panelists are appearing as individuals and should not be construed to be speaking on behalf of their organizations or the Arts Commission as a whole. So, who are those panelists? It is my distinct pleasure to introduce them to you now. Trami Cron is a Vietnamese-American cultural organizer, producer, and author based in San Jose. She's the founder and executive artistic director of Chopsticks Alley Art, an organization that amplifies Southeast Asian voices and promotes cultural heritage through art classes, exhibitions, cultural events, and monthly open mics. She served as a commissioner on San Jose's Parks and Recreation from 2015 to 2020 and was on the Arts Commission during the pandemic. Next is Carman Tyra. Oh, and you can all applaud jazz hands when I'm done with the bios because they deserve it. They need it. All right. It is important. All right. Carman Tyra Gaines, born and raised in San Jose, is influenced by her West African, Chickahominy, and Creek freedmen heritage. Carman's social practice journey is rooted in a nonlinear path, reflecting the various ways individuals can creatively impact the world. Carman currently serves as the Deputy Director of Local Color and is the incoming Vice Chair of the San Jose Arts Commission for fiscal year 2026 and 2027. Wahoo. An alum of the 9th Emerging Arts Professional and SV Mindshare cohorts and Harvard's 2023 Young American Leadership Program, Carman holds art history and studio arts degrees from San Francisco State University and De Anza College. They aim to celebrate diverse cultural heritages while inspiring joy in community. Give it up for Carman, folks. Next, Jonathan Francisco Borca is a proud East Sider, performing artist, San Jose Arts Advocate core team member, and San Jose Arts Commissioner. Anything that has the word San Jose and arts in it is pretty much all Jonathan. Commissioner. With over 15 years of experience in the nonprofit sector, he currently serves as Institutional Relations Senior Manager at the San Jose Public Library Foundation, with past work including the statewide California Arts Council Administrators of Color Fellowship and San Jose's first creative sector mayoral forum. Under the stage name Francis Experience, he blends rap, poetry, jazz, and storytelling, and hopes to be a resource for anyone interested in getting involved in the arts. Woo! What up, Borca? Oh, yeah! All right. Now that we know a little bit about the three of you, let's learn about your experiences as arts commissioners. A reminder to our audience that the chat is open for your questions. We will get to them as time and our conversation allows. We ask that you please respect general rules of decorum and keep your thoughts on topic. We reserve the right to kick you out of this session if your comments cross the line or you say that you don't like poetry. All right. So, without any further ado, I'm going to I'll mix it up. I'll ask the panelists the same questions but in different orders. So we're going to go ahead and start with we'll go in alphabetical order this round. Carman Gaines, I'm going to ask you this first. Tell us
Crazy.
why you applied to the Arts Commission and when you were appointed.
Yes, I was appointed last September, and I actually was appointed in a vacancy during an active term. So there are, I believe, it's 4-year term is a full term for the Arts Commission, and life happens, and so the seat that I occupy, which is District 8, became vacant, and you are able to submit a application at any time, and that kind of lives on file for a certain period of time. And that's good to have even before a vacancy pops up. But I had the great fortune of meeting Trami, both through Mindshare with SV Creates and then at another kind of nonprofit retreat that really allowed for like conversation to flow. And that is where the first seedling came to be planted. However, I've always loved art for its powers of communication. And it's nice to be in that like free flex space. But I knew year after year that I would be getting closer to the bureaucracy of it all, which is our local government and participating in a closer way. And joining a commission felt like a good entry point for me, and especially the Arts Commission.
Thank you. Next, we'll ask Jonathan the same question. Tell us why you applied for the Arts Commission and when you were appointed.
Great. Thank you, mightiest Mike, that there is. Yeah, so similar to Carmen, I'll answer the second part first. I joined the Arts Commission in the middle of a term, so the second half of the 4-year commitment, and that was in 2022. I was appointed by then council member Magdalena Carrasco. And then I renewed my very first own term in 2024 and was appointed by D5 council member Peter Ortiz. Why I joined? I've always, sorry, I see a big sign in front of my video. Um, I always have really thought deeply around like pay equity for artists, in part influenced by Jessica Pasadillos at the Mexican Heritage Plaza, but it's always been really near and dear to me. So I joined with a pretty two-pronged agenda that I put it very clearly in my application too, that I really wanted to be a part of increasing pay equity for artists. And then also I wanted to be a part of having public dollars go to local artists. So those are my two intentions in joining.
Excellent. You said two of my favorite words, and that is paying and artists in the same sentence. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. Trami, same question, but I'm going to flip it. When were you appointed to the Arts Commission and why did you apply?
So it was 2020, and I applied because I wanted to understand the bureaucracy of it, and I wanted to add diversity to the group. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And then once you're in it, then different things develop as to why I stayed or why it was an important thing to do, important work. And Carmen, I had no idea that I planted the seed. How funny.
I think it's fascinating to me that, I mean, there's probably a bunch of people who are watching right now who have had seeds planted and have been planting seeds for a lot of the other folks in this room as well. So I think it ends up going many, many different ways. Fantastic. Thank you, Tremi. Next question, and we'll go with Jonathan first on this one. Reflect on the appointment process. Who appointed you? How long did it take? Were you filling a vacancy or appointed to serve a full term? And I'll remind you of each of those questions as you go.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
Mhm.
Um, So yeah, the appointment process, and I should zoom out and say because I don't think a lot of this is intuitive by any stretch, or if you don't know, how else would you know how this works? I'll say an appointment means that every council member in every district gets to select who they're appointing to serve as arts commissioner. So I just want to name that. That means you can apply, right? So how long did it take? It's been quite a while, but it's kind of a robust application process. So I'll say you're probably going to spend anywhere from 2 to 5 hours if you want to be thorough in it. Um, and then let's see. Did you contact? Okay, so I was actually encouraged to apply by an OCA staff originally.
Mm.
Um, So somebody reached out, said, "Hey, you're very active. We know you are passionate about the arts. Would you consider being an arts commissioner?" And that was kind of almost like happenstance though, because the D5 arts commissioner had transitioned out. I don't actually know the context as to why or even who it was at the time. So I know they had like an immediate need, and I'm sure they were encouraging many people to apply. And then the last thing I'll say about that. So yeah, the other question was, were you filling a vacancy? I was filling a term that became midway vacant. The last thing I'll share about that is as a nuance is it definitely helps, and I think this may come up later, but like knowing your council member, knowing the district you're in, don't worry if you don't have any of that information. I don't think it should be assumed that we do. I didn't. So even if you have to Google who is my city council member district and you put in your address, you can start there. But because it is a appointment process, ultimately I think it's a lot around relationships. So I'll stop there.
Okay. And did someone specifically appoint you?
Yeah, Councilmember Carrasco at the time
Gotcha.
appointed.
I know you said that earlier, but I wanted to just double back on that. Excellent. Thank you so much, Jonathan. Trami, next. So reflect on your appointment process and who appointed you.
Honestly, I don't remember. That's why I referenced I joined in 20, during the pandemic, so everything was a blur. I represented District 7, and I believe that the previous person termed out, and I applied and then went in. So I don't remember talking to the council member to be appointed. However, I did serve on the Parks and Recs Commission before. So the process is pretty similar. And when I joined that commission, I had to get to know the council member. I was a little bit more political, if you will. And so it is a political process in some ways. You can't be like a nobody where no one's ever heard of you. Not that you're nobody, but that you've never heard of you and you apply, and then there's someone else who they have heard of, then they may appoint them. And it's not because you're not as good. It's just timing, right? And whoever knows you doesn't know you. So apply. And I do remember attending the Arts Commission meeting well before I was appointed. Well, it was well before I applied. So I think it's an important step to do. Like, go check it out and you can see, like, is it boring? Is it really something you want to sit through these hours and hours of meetings? And then your commitment level. So I think it's good to check it out. And the appointment process varies, but it's important to apply. And then just, even if you don't know the council member, like Jonathan said, send them an email to say, hey, I applied. Here's my background. So that way, when your name comes across, it's not some brand new thing.
So then I'm curious, you said you were appointed in 2020. Did that mean that you applied and you went through the process during the pandemic? So yours was you kind of had to do everything online.
Yes, everything was online. I've never had an in-person meeting.
Yeah. And then, so I would like to ask that, Jonathan, did you get an in-person meeting? Did you have an in-person meeting?
Mine was in person because it was I'm trying. You're bringing me back to like when did it actually happen? But
Back in the early 1900s.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, it was in 2022, and I want to say I first heard or like started the conversation at like a content pickup party, and I spoke with OCA staff, and then I had kind of to Trami's point, which again I want to like double stamp that because I do think it's like a thing to navigate and a thing to know. Like I was lucky that I knew council member Carrasco at the time, and she knew me. But I will say like hustle though. Like you can reach out, you can ask who in your network knows somebody. You just got to put yourself in front of them because they do need, Trami said, they do need to know you. And I just want to be encouraging because I want to say a lot of people that are in the arts or in this space, I would assume don't have an existing relationship. So don't let that be a barrier. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you, Jonathan. Trami, were you filling a vacancy or were you appointed to a full term?
I was appointed to a full term.
Thank you so much. Carman, same questions to you. Just reflect on your appointment process and who appointed you.
Yeah, and I'll also add that this is the second board and commission that I've applied to. I applied to the Community Sustainability Opportunity Pathways Board, which I think still exists. That's connected to the Downtown West project. I felt compelled because my work intersects with that area a lot at the time. But I was definitely a different point in my career than I am now. And so I do think that my level of involvement, definitely with the San Jose Arts Advocates for the last 3 years, we have like annual meetings with like every council member. So I've at least met with a staff member of every council member's office who's had office for the last 3, 4 years. And so I wasn't like a completely unfamiliar name. Of course, like my work with Local Color, whose mission is to build equitable pathways for artists and creatives to thrive, also gives me a level of visibility because we work with the city a lot and I've had pre-existing relationships with OCA staff members. So I do think that those relationships helped in joining the Arts Commission. And you don't have to live in the district that you represent. Fun fact, I live in District 3 and I've lived in District 10, and I represent District 8. And I do have some level of engagement with like the Evergreen Valley Square area, definitely Lake Cunningham. And so I did feel confident still in like applying for an area that I don't reside in because I applied with the intention of like getting to know what's happening in this other area of San Jose. And it's yeah, it's been beneficial for that way. And how long did it take? It probably took like about I don't know, maybe like half a year, maybe from application to the time of it getting like on the agenda, and then it gets approved like in a council meeting live. And I did need to reapply this year. So I reapplied in March for the seat that I already have. Essentially gave a report on myself of like I perfect attendance. I've been actively seeking to build relationships within the district. Like I want to continue on. And so that was kind of a quick email exchange for reappointment, just recommitting my own interest in serving in this role. And so that was from March to June for the reappointment.
Gotcha. Thank you. And just out of curiosity, and I'm sure this was probably already mentioned, but I wanted to, I didn't hear it. What are the term limits and how long is a term?
One full term is 4 years.
Mhm.
And Jonathan, please correct me. You can serve 2 consecutive, 3 consecutive, or 2 consecutive, then you need to take a break and you can come back.
Yeah, so this is actually something I will say I'm not exactly sure about. I know that you're eligible for 2 4-year terms, but actually I know Carrie Adams Hapner is on the call. I won't give a wrong answer, but I do have a question on what does that mean if you fulfill a midterm? Do you get two terms, or are you only eligible for 1 4-year term?
I would
So
imagine that you're filling the other person, you're completing the other commissioner's term, and then you can, I would imagine, apply for your own terms, right? I mean, that's usually how it works. So I will say, if there's anyone watching right now who's not a panelist who has the correct answer, please put it in the chat because I would love to know. Thank you.
I'll
Thank you
also
both.
add that there is like the city department of boards and commissions that has like their own kind of platform, and it talks about all of the commissions and boards that exist within the city of San Jose. So any questions that are not specific to the department, you can send a question to the boards and commissions staff.
That's great. That's great. Thank you, Carmen. Next question, and this will go to Carmen, since I already got you here anyway. I would like you to discuss any research that you did before or after you applied. Did you contact current or past commissioners? Did you reach out to your council member or an OCA staff, which I feel like some of you have already kind of answered that one. And did you attend commission meetings prior to applying?
Yeah, so I've sat in, well, the Arts Commission also has subcommittees. So I've definitely kind of sat in as like a member of the public for public art commission meetings. And especially within, like after I'd submitted an application, went in person to an arts commission meeting. It is so, get nerdy. You're already on this call, on this webinar, and learning about this. So like, get nerdy about the way that the city of San Jose specifically works, because then there are these like levels of overlap and intersection to a degree, and it's just really interesting to learn about how our city makes decisions. And so I did do some research on like the Arts Commission itself. Like you can look at past agendas online, and I did have a prior relationship with Jonathan as well. And so it was very easy for me to like just ask someone who's currently on the commission what their experience had been thus far.
Hmm. Excellent. Trami, same question for you. Did you do any research before or after you applied? And did you contact current or past commissioners?
Yes, before I applied, I did do research. As I mentioned, I've attended a meeting, and I also spoke with some of the commissioners to really understand like what is the time commitment, because it's not like, say the Parks and Recs Commission where you just go to the meeting, you're done. But in the Arts Commission, there are subcommittees, so there are extra meetings. So it's not just the once a month, but more like 2 times or 3 times, depending on how many committees you're on. So it's a commitment. And also, I wanted to understand, do you really have decision-making power? Or are you just like a body that, it's a checklist? And that was important to me. And to what extent can you really make a change? So that those questions, I guess, is TBD, to see what Carmen and Jonathan thinks about their tenure, and what kind of impact they've made.
Thank you, Trami. And I'm curious about that too. That definitely brings up a question in my mind of, what sort of do you feel that there is some sway, power, what have you, in your commission, or does it feel more like an advisory board? And any of you can answer that along with the sort of throughout this conversation. So Jonathan, any research that you did prior to or after you applied?
Yeah, you know what? I'll admit I was pretty minimal in the research. I don't think I did as much as either one of my colleagues here. And then Mike, I'll jump to the question that you asked. I'll just say as a point of clarity, like the Arts Commission is technically advisory body to the council. So that's
Mhm.
something that is known about it. And then I think that's a tough question to ask, frankly. The way I would answer that is I've been humbled and like have a lot of respect for anyone who uh orients, is staffed to, serves on a commission on policy, right? Because it's really, really hard work. And so I wouldn't say I've ever felt like I don't have an impact or that I can't contribute in ways. But I will say you're by definition working within a body, which is within a department, which is within the city or the machine of the city. So I think that's maybe something that I would feel comfortable generally saying is like be really measured, do your homework. You can always have an impact, but it may not be sweeping, it may not be dramatic, and it may not be aligned with what you potentially wanted when you went in. And I think that's probably the most honest way I can answer that.
That's great. I appreciate that. Did you attend any commission meetings prior to applying?
I did not. I was bad.
Well, I mean, it's for some people learn just by doing, right? You walk in and it's just like, I understand how Kmart works now. I've shopped here before. Okay. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you all. Okay, next I will ask Trami. According to the city website, the Arts Commission is an advisory body that provides city. See, if I had read this question first, I would have had that answer, right? Provides the city council with advice and recommendations on city policies and programs that affect public access to a wide variety of arts and cultural opportunities in San Jose. In your own words, describe the role of the commission and individual commissioners.
I think it is an advisory body. So the staff who are wonderful, they do their homework, they have recommendations. And before we attend, we are supposed to do our homework and figure out what is it that we're going to approve that night and figure out like, okay, is that something I want to do? Is it not? And why? And then during the meeting from other commissioners' feedback, then we get to engage in conversation about, maybe that thing can be tweaked a little, or maybe we're not ready to make that decision right now because we need additional information, or we need some things to be changed. So that those are the advice or the things that we can influence the staff to now go back and make some change, or have them go back and ask the council to do something. So these are influence that we're able to instill. And then in other ways too, we can get a little tough because sometimes decisions don't want to be made. Oh, let's push it back to next year. Then that's when we get to say, you know what? No, it's important now. We want to talk about it now, right? So that's when you start to gain your feet more and start to swim a little better. And then you can be a little bit stronger as a voice. And I think that's where the strength comes in.
Mhm.
Additionally, it's not really during the commission meeting where we make a change. It's behind the scenes. It's now you know who's who. Now you're going to go talk to whomever. You're going to go talk to your council member and then talk to them about what you want to see happen, or let them know what's happening so they can make changes, right? So I think a lot of the work is not just during the meeting, it's after that. It's now you know who's who, you know how it works. Now go do some work. So that's like extra work if you want to be an effective commissioner.
Excellent. That's an incredible answer. I will then pass that to Carmen. Carmen, can you add to that?
+1 on the doing the homework and being prepared for the meetings and like reviewing those agendas so that you can be like effective and like come into the public meetings with intention. It is your role to be a liaison for whatever area that you are representing. And so having those conversations with your council, because they are then connected with different like neighborhood associations, or like people are coming to the council directly, asking questions that could be like deferred to an arts commissioner, and just helping to share where information is, like from utility boxes to something even larger. And I feel like it helps. There's always this open space for commissioner communications, and I always do my best to like come with that knowledge of like what's happening so that it could be on public record that the arts happen here. And like I will state if it's associated with, this is a festivals, parades, and celebration grantee, or this is someone who's, applying to be a creative ambassador for this first time, or would be a great candidate for that. And then vice versa, like as soon as like that meeting is over, like helping to disseminate that information. I do, just to weave in that answer about how much power do you have? I felt really good that in my very first meeting, the peace monument that will be installed at Arena Green is going to was being kind of confirmed in its final phase in my first meeting. And I just got to ask a question that I felt was important, which was about it's a globe, it's like a figure, human figure, a globe, and then all of these figures that represent the different continents around the globe. And on the globe, I asked specifically, like, is the proportions of the continent of Africa, like its actual geographical portions, and not the like post-colonial shrinkage map version. And like that's something that's like this sculpture, once it's installed, is going to be in the city of San Jose for decades, most likely, like with how it's being fired and created. And so like there's moments that feel like, yeah, like that's like a tangible moment of change. And then I got to go to the foundry, and they like took the time to show me that, and it's like before it goes to the foundry, like what it looked like. And like it just validated that my question was heard. And so I think there's power in information, and there's power in being able to ask questions and able to ask questions in those right times, because you don't know what seeds that you're planting. And so if something can't go to policy right away, or it can't be acted on right away, it at least it just plants that seed. And I think that's how like change is made in those like instrumental moments.
Incredible. And thank you for doing that, Carmen. That must have, I imagine that must have felt really good to see that just by asking a question that gears started moving, things were happening, right? And that you got an answer. I would imagine you got hopefully the answer you wanted. Yeah, good. Excellent. Mercator map, no. Right. So, thank you, Carmen. Did I ask everybody that question? I think I did, right? Carmen, you were the last one. Okay. So now I'm going to ask you all of this very simple. What does the actual time commitment really look like? I'm going to start with Jonathan, and that includes going to events in the community, knowing what your role is.
Yeah, so I would say there's a couple ways to look at time commitment. So from a minimalist perspective, you can ask yourself like, what are the technical requirements? You attend a monthly Arts Commissioner meeting. So every third Monday of the month, except for July and December, the Arts Commission convenes. It's at 5:30, and then it should be known that there is no end time. Okay. So much like city council, if you've ever tuned in or have attended a city council member, it's really predicated on what's on the agenda, which can be this big or it could be this big, be on the screen. So yeah, there is no hard and fast time, but let's just say 2 to 3 hours monthly is the bare minimum. You're actually encouraged. I don't know if it's technical requirement, but like you're pretty much encouraged to join one of the two subcommittees. I think Carmen mentioned them earlier. The two are the Public Art Committee and the Executive Committee. That is another monthly meeting, uh, give or take, and they're irregular. So that's another meeting that you can assume another 2 to 3 hours. So I would think a low is probably somewhere between 6 to 10 hours a month. But I would say a high, and if you really want to be involved and if you have the capacity, which I would actually encourage, it can be double that, right? Because you're reading, it takes time to read all of the minutes. It takes time to read the agendas that have attachments. It takes time to, as Carmen mentioned earlier, and even Trami, like to be prepared to ask questions. That takes a lot of time. So my lesson learned was like, I've had all the shades. I've shown up just to meetings and did what I could, kind of the bare minimum with because of my capacity often. And now I really try to never take this for granted. So I probably doubled my time from when I start to what I'm doing now.
Hmm. I think it also helps to understand what your role is over time as well, right? That makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Jonathan.
Yes, sir.
Trami, time commitment. What would you say?
I agree with Jonathan. Yeah, so it's as much as you are willing to put in, but the minimum, I'd say 10 hours a month.
Per month? Yeah. But that's why you get paid the big bucks for it, right? The huge dollars. Yeah. No dollars. No dollars. Thank you, Trami. Carmen?
No dollars as it is a volunteer commitment, but some boards and commissions, depending on your own personal finances, you might qualify for, I can't remember the verbiage for it, but you might qualify for some type of like equity stipend, depending on where you fall in your like current salary range, because it is volunteering, it is time committed. And I like that on the Arts Commission, there are a combination of artists and like arts administrators and folks that work in careers that have nothing to do with the arts. And so like for me, like going to all those like additional events, I would be doing that anyway. It's just so now I also have the option of like wearing a name badge that says I'm on the Arts Commission if I feel like that's how I want to represent or need to represent myself, especially if it's like a city sponsored event. But otherwise, I'd probably just be there. And that's another reason why I joined the Arts Commission. So I can like show up in spaces like with purpose and like ready to like share information and beyond a purpose, beyond having a good time.
Well, and I've seen you at events too, wearing your badge, and I think it's awesome. But I also think it's strange that it's like 2 feet by 6 feet long and neon yellow. It's like you really want people to know, you know. Well played. No, thank you, Carmen. And what I just said is not true by any means. All right. I do want to point out that Peter Allen posted in the chat. I'm sure some of you already read this, but it is unclear whether a partial term to fill a vacancy counts against a commissioner's 2 terms. However, there are 6 months or less remaining. If there are 6 months or less remaining in a term filled by vacancy, the council has the option to appoint someone to complete the partial term and the next 4-year term in the same process. And you can also check out the uh, all the links in the chat. Go to all the pertinent information you could possibly need, especially checking out what these 3 panelists are up to.
Yeah,
In
Mike, I suppose it's how much they like you.
Say that one more time.
I suppose it's how much they like you or they trust you if they'll let you fill the next 4-year term as well.
Yeah, I would imagine so, right?
Also not true. I'm sorry. Humorous interlude.
I keep getting texts like, Mike, join, get in here. Not true. Next question for everyone. What qualities and or perspectives would make someone an effective arts commissioner, even if they don't come from a traditional arts administration background? And I think that really that kind of taps into what Carmen said about some of the folks who are on the commission and have been on the commission who are not necessarily involved in the arts. We'll start with Trami.
Someone who's brave, who's willing to speak up, someone who can handle themselves in public when hot topics come up. Because I was there during the pandemic, everything was on Zoom. And on Zoom in the early years, we had the chat open, and it was during the Fallon statue. It did me in, I have to tell you that. Um, the public thinks that we as commissioners have something to do with it, and they don't understand the process, right? As we know, until you join it, you don't really know the process. They assume that we made these decisions or somehow it's our fault. And so you have to have a strong backbone and be able to handle yourselves in public and stay neutral when you need to and have a game face on. So those are like personal skills. But I think just to be willing to learn and be willing to take risk and speak up. So
That's great. Carmen, same question.
I'll just piggyback that like having that balance to I always have to like take a moment to like re-regulate my nervous system. Like even if I don't go into it feeling like a sense of heightened emotion, like I think kind of trying to channel that stoicism and just like even keel, like listening and just like being able to process information as like objectively as possible. I always need to have a little reset time. I admire Jonathan's meticulousness when it comes to the minutes, and I think in whichever area that you can help the commission zoom in on, whether that's the budgets, whether that's just like the plans and timelines or the agenda items itself, having that like very detail oriented mindset and eye for things is good. And to be there like with holding in both regards your intention that you are trying to bring and also realizing that you're like a facilitator to a public process. And so whatever you're bringing, that's very human, and like we're representing more than ourselves in these spaces.
I've been on the board of a few directorships, and I got to say, I grabbed this copy. I don't know if anyone can. Oh, it doesn't want to. Oh, there it is. I grabbed this copy of the agenda and minutes from the last Arts Commission. That was my first Arts Commission meeting too, by the way, the very last one, the most recent one on the 15th. And I got to say, this thing, like I needed a hand cart to bring this home. It was so heavy. You got a lot of minutes going on there. It's an impressive amount of work that you guys are doing involved with. Jonathan, did I ask you in terms of qualities that would make the most perfect, not perfect, but make a good commissioner?
I resonate a lot of with what I heard from Carmen and Trami. But I will say Trami saying being brave, I really resonate with that. There is no, I do think there's a lot of misnomers on the Arts Commission. Like you don't have to live in the district you serve in per Carman. You don't have to have a traditional or arts practice or job, right? But I would say here's a couple things that I think. Being brave for sure, like be integritous, right? Like be true to yourself. That's going to help you jump into a system or a really complicated, nuanced body, and you'll be able to navigate it well because if you know yourself well, you'll understand what you can navigate within the body. Um, and then I would say it does help to have a connection to the arts. So whether you're a performing artist or not, or you work for your leader of Chopsticks Alley or not, like it helps because that's the content that you're going to be seeing in and day out. So if you don't have a connection to the arts in some capacity, I do think it'll be hard to remain fully engaged. The last thing I'll say is like just a lot of us are not in boards and in commissions. So if you come from a diverse background, I would highly encourage that you probably have all the qualities you need to show up and be yourself. If you do not read or if you're not well read on all of this stuff, I will say that should not disqualify you. In fact, I'm a firm believer that you probably have everything you need to show up in that space and do good.
That's great. I'm curious too, because you are representing districts throughout San Jose, do you and you can give a quick answer for each of you, and we'll start with Carmen. Do you, and this is separate from what's on there, but do you have much communication with the city council member in the district you're representing or their office? Do you have much communication with them throughout the year?
They're so busy. You are another constituent that is seeking a meeting. And so I do my best to like set some time. I'm subscribed to their newsletter. And they are just one email away. And so I do try to utilize that up to my best capacity. But I will admit, like, I want to do that more, especially in this incoming year. Like, after seeing the June budget message and the memos that were passed, I was really excited to see how much District 8 and Councilmember Candelas set aside in their own discretionary budget memo for arts and culture for District 8. So,
That's
um,
great.
yeah, I look forward to like again just being a better liaison of like information and so I can communicate that and vice versa what's happening in the commission to the council members.
Thank you, Carmen, very much. Jonathan, same question. Do you have much communication with your district?
I'll say this in two ways, Mike. One, it's not technically required. Just to throw it out there, like if you think you're on whatever district you're serving, you're gonna have like an automatic standing meeting, for example. That's not true. So I agree with Carmen. They are all the offices are really busy, but I will say there's a lot of ways in which you can bring value to them. I think that's probably a general advice I'd give. Can you share out things? Can you highlight art that's in their district? Because if you can add value to the office, I think it's a lot easier for you to ask for things like a standing meeting. So I'm lucky enough that Peter Ortiz and I have a warm relationship, and his team is very warm to me. So I do have a very open door, but I do think that's probably not normative.
Gotcha. Trami?
I would say it depends on what's going on at the time. So sometimes yes, and then sometimes I don't talk to them for a while.
Mhm.
So it just varies. And I think it's important to have that relationship. And it was Maya Esparza, I'm remembering now, who appointed me.
Mm.
Um, and we were on text. So sometimes it's that simple. And sometimes she had important things that she wanted us to address, and she'll let me know, and vice versa, or I can give her a heads up. So I think it's important to have that relationship. You do not have to, like Jonathan said, but I think it's good to have.
Mhm. Thank you. Next question. Has serving on the commission changed your perspective about the role, the city, or the local arts ecosystem? Jonathan.
I would
I can repeat it if you'd like.
no, I think I got it, Mike. I would say. Yeah, I think it has. I think it's brought in again, I think I said this earlier, but like it's really made me appreciate like civic processes a lot more, advisory boards, policy. I don't have that background, so like just the sheer minutia, the amount of checks and balances there are, like it makes me really uh appreciate anyone who's a city staff or anyone who's on a board because it's hard work. It's not quick. It's something that it can feel really overwhelming or slow dripping. But other than that, I mean, I think it's opened up a lot of things for me. It's caused me to question like why I do commitments, like and how do I continue to hold myself accountable to my own integrity, my own values, but also holding in tandem the role of serving District 5 or the greater city. And that's hard. Those are hard things to balance while also trying to be a good colleague, a good peer in the board. And that's really tricky. I don't know if everyone has that experience, but I find that it can be hard to be true to all those things. And so yeah, it's been a wonderful test for my own personal values. And I'll stop there.
Yeah. Carmen, same question.
Um, yes, and I was on just about a full year. So my first meeting was in September, so I only missed August of like the current fiscal year in regards to meeting. So it was really interesting to see. I've been on the other side of it as like an arts 501(c)(3) that like engages in like the grants process. So and the We Create 408 campaign. So it was really interesting to like get those reports from behind the scenes. I have built so much adoration for the special events department. Like, oh my goodness, so much happens in the city of San Jose, and there's literally like 3 to 4 staffers that are like dedicated to making that happen. So just seeing like all the different layers and like micro departments within the Office of Cultural Affairs, and then like how it does or doesn't interact with the other half of that office, which is the Office of Economic Development. And then again, just like how this system impacts the historical preservation or Parks and Rec. And so it's just really interesting to learn again about like how what is the cadence of the city and decision-making processes. I look forward because again, personal agenda like in the mind and like what's going on in the moment. Like if you look at the broader like statewide initiatives, I'm like so stoked about the potential that like cultural districts hold and and like artist housing preferences that could potentially come up as things that like I can help educate and put forward on like future agendas so that I can be that more direct influence on things and be there when I need to be reactionary as well when situations kind of just come to us, which I haven't experienced firsthand just yet. I've had a lot of chill meetings. And I know that, once 4 years is up, I'll probably have more stories.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm absolutely certain of that. Thank you, Carmen. Trami, has serving on the commission changed your perspective about the role, the city, or the local arts ecosystem?
Everything. It's changed everything. The whole complaining thing, like I'm no longer a whiner about it because I know the process now. It's not like you just want it to change. No, it's going to be 6 months later that maybe gets on the agenda and then maybe, so I get it and I understand why. Because if we address every single complaint, what the heck, right? How are we going to get anything done? So I understand the process better. I understand um, how the staff works, how decisions are made. And then also coming from a nonprofit organization, I saw what we could do better in order to get those grants. And then being on the commission, I saw there were things that maybe staff was not aware that organizations had to go through to apply and how they would never qualify based on the parameters set forth by the grant because it's not possible. So like a small organization, you want them to have audits, financials, you want them to have a full-time employee. How's that going to happen? Right. So there are these things that, so coming from on all sides, it really helps to be able to educate both ways. So we can, show the staff like the struggles of the people, if you will, and the politicians. And then also from the people's perspectives, like, well, you got to shift the way you do things if you want to qualify for these grants or approach whatever it is. So I think it's been very helpful. And then most importantly, I feel the staff cares, really cares. Otherwise, they wouldn't do what they do. Because sometimes I'm like, what? Like, how do you do this for years and years? I think they
Mhm.
really care, but they also have rules, and they also have managers that limits what they can and cannot do, right? So I think it's an understanding of the system helps you have empathy for everyone involved, including yourself, when you're sitting there being when people don't understand what's going on. And one last point, sorry, I'm going on. Because I'm
Go on.
Vietnamese, thank you. Because I'm Vietnamese, and I'm able to speak Vietnamese, I'm able to help our community understand the system better, because sometimes we don't understand and we complain and they don't go through the proper channels to do it. So I'm able to now help them understand how that works. And so
Mhm.
they can get the resources and get what they want to get done easier because of inside information I'm able to share. Thank
Kamong.
you. That's Vietnamese for thank you.
Mhm. And thank you very much, Tremi. I appreciate what you bring to this community very much. Um, so, last question, last prompt I'm going to ask you guys. For someone who, and I'm going to go with Carmen first, Carmen, then Trami, then Jonathan. For someone who isn't ready to apply yet, what are some good ways to start engaging with the commission, OCA, SJAA, or the broader creative community? So, Office of Cultural Affairs, San Jose Arts Advocates, or the broader community.
Um, Always down. Now I'm a friendly face on the internet, and I'm down to be a friendly face on the virtual coffee chat or in person. So feel welcome to reach out. I love a Google Draft. So even if you just like look through the commissions and like look through the application, even if it's kind of just like sitting as an idea, until you're ready to hit submit, highly encourage you to do that. There is a vacancy currently, and also there's like a thing about quorum. So want to keep a fully no vacancies on the commission is like the best way to function, I feel. And so just take this as a level to jump in, learn on the go, and open to having conversations, listen to a meeting, rewatch past meetings.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Carmen. Trami?
My advice to anyone who's like, I'm not sure if I should, just apply. And then when you get the offer, then you can decide, I don't want it anymore, whatever. Don't be like, well, what decision are you making if you're not applying? It's like a moot point. So, go to bed, like don't even bother, right? So go attend a meeting, read the agenda, and get off your butt and apply, right? That's my thing. Just
Mhm.
apply.
And I do have a kind of a question B too, and that is, would you is there being on any other commission or any other like nonprofit or what have you, any board, would that preclude anyone from becoming a commissioner?
No,
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 okay,
but if they're voting on something that has to do with your organization or has to do with someone then you need to recuse yourself from that discussion, from the voting. But no, you can still join the board even if you work for an organization or whatever.
right, gotcha.
And
Uh,
one more
Jonathan.
one more note on that, Mike. I'll
Yeah.
say so no, definitely you could still be on the board, but you are more than likely going to be ineligible for funding in any capacity. So if you're like an artist, for example, in the community who's very active, no, you won't be able to you won't be able to be the creative ambassador. You won't be eligible for FPC grants. So just know that if you are a working artist, that can be a barrier. Uh,
Until you're off the commission.
yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And then, so to the question, Mike, I would just say, Trami, I agree again. But like, if you're questioning whether you should be or whether you're ready to be an arts commissioner and you're on this call, you're probably the right person to apply to the commission. The other thing I would say with that is like, it's somewhat of a, I guess it's not technically a rolling process, but if you apply, it'll go into the system and you never know when somebody's going to transition out, even if it's beyond the terms or the vacancies currently listed. So that's another reason just to apply. You'll hold a conversation with the district, either the council member themselves or the chief of staff or both. So know that you'll never be caught by surprise if you're being appointed. So I would encourage everyone.
Gotcha.
And then um, The other ways to engage that I haven't heard from my colleagues are like you can show up and you can give public comment. That's a really effective way. You can, like Trami said, if there's like a disconnect between a community you represent or identity you represent, you can let the staff know. It is really a partnership. It is not commission or public versus the city. It's public private. So you can show up. That's in a very effective way. You can show up to any three of those meetings, exec, um, public art committee, or the monthly arts commission meeting, and you can add value just by showing up and speaking if you feel compelled.
Excellent. That's fantastic. So that's all the questions that I have for you guys. Are there any other comments that you can think of that you would like to just remind people of before I go to a few questions from the public? Any other thoughts? Take that as an
I have no regrets about joining, and also got to be a part of this most recent election cycle within the Arts Commission itself, and have been appointed vice chair. And it's because I'm welcoming the additional responsibilities and welcoming the deeper level of involvement. And so let this be a gateway. Let caring for the arts and then joining the commission and then deepening your impact through subcommittees and holding positions, like let that be a way for you to like really influence what's happening in this sector that we all care about.
I don't know. It's somehow I feel like all three of you get 8 days done in 7 somehow. So I do appreciate it. I saw Carmen. I heard you hosting at the park at St. James Park this weekend because I live right around the corner, and it was easy to be there because Levitt Pavilion. But yes, and so yeah, I really appreciate what you're all doing. Now, what I would like to do is ask the public who are here in the Zoom room with us if they have any questions. If you have a question, go ahead and type into the chat, and I'll try to get to at least 3 of them before we close out. So if you have any questions, and while you're typing those questions, I will say that I want to thank our amazing panelists. And I feel like maybe some jazz hands, some emojis, some clapping emojis, what have you, for these 3 folks who are really representing a huge swath of the South Bay to make sure that art is available to everyone. If there are no questions.
Hold on, Mr. Mighty Mike McGee. And to you, good sir, I thought Peter might beat me to it, but just want to thank you for everything you've done for our arts ecosystem. You are phenomenal. I've told you this privately, I've told you this publicly. You are really special, not just in your talent and your love for literacy and poetry, but you're really good at creating community. And you're like seriously like one of the most humble people ever. I think you're a goat of San Jose. So thank you for volunteering yet again. I saw you at the last Arts Commission meeting yet again. So when there is no time, Mighty Mike McGee might just add another M for magician because you somehow find time to stay involved, and thank you. And shout out to Peter Allen. You've been a trusted leader and doing a lot of this. I would also sorry to steal your thunder here, Mighty Mike, but like Peter, if there's anything that you want to speak on, you were also an arts commissioner. I think it could be a great time, but I do see a hand.
I have nothing to add. You guys have been wonderful panelists. But I do see Vanessa's got her hand up, and we also had a question from Becca in the chat. So Vanessa, if you want to come off mute, I think you're able to do that. Go right ahead and
Thank
ask
you.
away. Good to
Okay,
see you.
thanks. Good to see you guys too. And yeah, I was like, I feel like if I type it, it's not going to make sense. So maybe I could just ask like a human question. But I was just wondering, like, because something that I struggle with, I'm wondering if those of you who serve also like lead organizations, right? And so you're representative of an organization is your day job, and then being on commission, it's kind of like adding another like hat there. And is it ever hard for you because for me, I'm like always repping my organization, and like I imagine there's times when you have to kind of pick and choose like who you're representing in which spaces. And is that ever hard to balance? Is that something that you like has your board ever been concerned about things like that as well? And I mean, I think in general it's good to be out and connecting with people, but again, because it sometimes can affect like, funding opportunities sometimes and things like that. So I'm just curious about how that balance works out.
Why don't we start with Carmen?
Yeah, I have not. So you'll see in the meeting minutes that I abstained for like several action items because they were pertaining to the grants. And so I was still able to see the like post discussion process. I didn't actually have to leave the room, so I got to be in the room when the action item was being discussed, and then I just abstained from the vote because I submitted already that conflict of interest because I work with Local Color and we are the fiscal sponsor for several grantees. But I didn't find it disempowering, and I did not think to ask my board for permission. Now that I think about it, I did just kind of do it because I am a resident of the city of San Jose first. And then I am my profession and my other affiliations. And I've gotten really good about just like speaking from what hat I'm speaking from. So if there is like a topic that is 100% like what I'm about to say comes from my experience as a staff of Local Color, a nonprofit organization, then I just like say that. And so we're all working in that plane of information. But I haven't found it to be a disadvantage. Of course, it is the additional capacity to show up and have another responsibility. Absolutely.
Jonathan?
You know what? Just for time's sake, Trami, did you want to speak to this? Only because I know you're also the leader of our organization.
Sure, yeah. Vanessa, I don't think it was a hindrance at all. If anything, I feel like it expanded my role as an ED for Chopsticks Alley. And also, when you are serving as commissioner, suddenly you realize it's not about you or your organization, it's about the people. So sometimes there'll be items coming up, say, for my Vietnamese community, some art piece that I'm totally against, that I'm like, what is this hideousness or this thing that does not represent me? But then you realize it's not about you and the community wants it. And you realize that and you're like, okay, I recommend that we approve, blah, blah, because that's what the community wants. And so it's like I think it helps you become a more full human being almost because it's not about you and your personal agenda anymore. Yeah, I really like the role. It was nice. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Jonathan, did you want to speak to that in any way? Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
not a ton to add, Mike.
Okay. Becca, did you want to come on? And thank you, Vanessa, for your question. That was a robust question. That was perfect. Becca, would you like to unmute and ask your question, or would you like me to read it in the chat? I'll go ahead and read it from the chat. Becca's question is, what has been your most meaningful project while on the Arts Commission? We'll start with you, Jonathan. Most meaningful project.
I can't think of one specific project, but I think I've had a hand in, again, to my earlier suggestion of like what might qualify you, just being really integritous. I think often, Bacchus mural process was one. I've been one of are the only person on the commission to, for example, ask a question or to make a connection from a previous meeting around consistency and continuity. So that's by no means meant to demonize my colleagues, who I think everyone does their very, very, very best. I truly believe that, but I think I've consistently showed up true to myself, and I think that's caused good ripples, if you ask me, or it might just mean I've been good headaches as well.
Trami, your most meaningful project, or two, three.
Yeah, I'd say there were a few. I was on the public art committee, and it was fun selecting artists who would be submitting the plans for some public art piece. And there were, I mean, so many fun renderings that they came up with, and to see it all completed, it was just really fun. And then also changing the parameters of the grants. So to be involved in that was really, really important to me. There's more work to be done. So Carmen and Jonathan, y'all can do it. But yeah, it was fun.
Thank you, Trami. I have to admit that sitting here under this overpass here in San Jose and getting my friends to stop traffic so that I could be here and Zoom from this location, I picked it on purpose because I love public art so much. And I think that's the 22 VTA streaking by. That was hard to do, you folks. Getting this bus frozen here. Carmen, would you like to speak to your most meaningful project while on the Arts Commission?
I'm really happy about the time that I've joined because, like, thinking of that project, it just underwent maintenance, and we have new leadership, new staff leadership at the Office of Cultural Affairs this year. Jen Lavorne is the new public art director, and Jen Baker is the new Office of Economic Development director. Apologies if I'm getting that title slightly wrong. And so just I think being a part of this like welcome committee period, both as an arts commissioner, as a community member of arts and culture, I feel like that will have impacts that have yet to be seen. Again, I've only been on it for a year, to come in at the tail end of that peace monument right before it was approved to like see it come into fruition. And this was also the very first year I participated in the Cornerstone of the Arts, which is another kind of sub-project of the Arts Commission, and was able to nominate some colleagues for that. And so that felt like a really special and impactful moment as well.
That's amazing. Incredible. Thank you, all three of you, so much for joining us today and for giving so much of yourselves for this and for the commission itself. What you guys are bringing to the South Bay means a lot. That's all the time we have for this evening. I want to thank our panelists, and I want to thank Peter Allen for really pulling this all together. Phenomenal work, Peter. And as he mentioned at the start of the program, a recording of the session will be available on the SJA YouTube channel and at sjartsadvocates.org. If you accidentally punched in.com, you'll end up in the same place. So go for it. You can also go to our website and sign up for our mailing list. If we didn't get to your question tonight, we'll do our best to get you a response offline. And if any burning questions wake you up in the middle of the night, you can email us at hello@sjartsadvocates.org. Finally, if doom scrolling is your thing, give us a follow at San Jose Arts on the Meta platform of your choice. Thank you for joining us, folks. My name is Mighty Mike McGee. You can find me at mightymikemcgee.com. Yeah. Have a lovely evening, everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Good
Bye.
night.
So much, everybody. Good night. Thank you, Mike.
Now I can start the bus again. All right.